Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with another edition of this week's vlog. We come to you this week as we put a near close on the end of Mental Health Month, as it has been a very good mental health month. But before I get started with that, I want to introduce myself like I always do. My name is Dustin. I am autistic. I have mental health challenges as we are getting into Mental Health Month and closing out on it. I'm 2 weeks shy of 40 years old, and I have been doing this autism thing for over 25 years. I've had the blog almost in the vlog almost 5 years. So I've been around a time or two when it comes to autism and how things are and how things operate. I've had a part-time job for 15 years, and I've been living on my own for almost seven. So we've been around the block a time or two as an autistic adult. I've lived a lot of things, I've done a lot of things, but this vlog this week is talking about more so mental health than it is autism. Um, Mental health and autism often co co-occur as you often think they do, and they do very much well co-occur. I will come out with I have autism, of course, I'm autistic, and I have bipolar disorder and anxiety. So we're dealing with a mess of emotions. And I would say for most of the six of the past 7 years, I have not been my best self because I didn't believe that I had mental health challenges and that I didn't need medication to survive. So, and through the past, I'd say year, I've discovered that and probably been on medication for some time now. And through that work of that trial and that error, I've established that I am much better and more regulated. As if you would look at a time lapse of over the nearly 349 videos I have done on this platform, you will see that today I am more regulated. It's been a long road, it's been a long journey. You think about the things that you've done or that you've had, and you think about the behaviors that you've experienced as an autistic adult navigating the world many times on my own and seeing the words that people use like over animated or manic or things like that, and you know those times when it was the roughest and the hardest for that matter of fact. Sorry, I'm trying to get the glare out of my eyes as much as I can, but that's life. That's how life is. It brings us some sense of wanting to not be understanding why we need those helpful tools to get in a better spot and to be ourselves. On top of all of that, I think what's also working for me to find my perfect cocktail or mix on top of the medication is having the right tools to manage the emotional control and to believe that medicine is a necessity, but also to keep my emotions going in a good, healthy dialogue in a good, healthy manner. On top of that, things have happened in the past few years to really alleviate a lot of the stress that I'm having. And also, likewise, when that stress was alleviated, I could see that stress be gone in many ways, and it proved itself well. And there are some things I've learned about mental health and about myself, in that process that has allowed me to see things in a different light and instead of seeing myself as being a negative Nancy all the time, take bright and take light of what is happening in the new day, what is positive, what is good. And I'm not saying have a happy-go-lucky positive life. There are things I do struggle with. We're all different as being autistic. Autism is different in each and every one of us. Some of us have more skill needs, some of us have more support needs than others. But I think when you manage things like living on your own and having a part-time job and getting to and from said part-time job with ease and making sure you're doing the things you need to do to survive in a world that has 100% millions of uncertainties, which allowed me to see why things like medication are important. I think I'm doing pretty good, darn good, The conversations that I've been having with people on my treatment team, that things are actually well regulated and well mannered now because I'm seeing things that I need to do for myself to keep myself going, keep myself regulated. Just even taking a sense of pride in your home and your workplace, those sort of things too matter. Everything really matters about mental health, and we're now discovering, and as I said, like I'm near 40 here in a couple weeks, but how mental health and physical health go in hand. There needs to be a good movement, good diet, all those sort of things to keep me going. And I want to flip to my notes real quick because I want to see if I think it's progress over perfection. It has gotten me to this point. It has been seeing, that we're not striving for perfection here. And, but I'm more on the progress and more leaning towards the perfection because I know I need to take care of myself in a world that is so volatile and uncertain. And if anything, the last few years has taught me things can change at the drop of a hat and that nothing is ever a guarantee. And the last few weeks and the last few years have definitely proven that. And I think the reality is now when things happen, I can take the information that is given to me and manage it better, that my emotions are not out of control in the public eye. Now, granted, I've understood that, in the private eye of my own home, I'm allowed to express my emotions and my feelings in a healthy and safe manner, and it's very well welcome to do that. But again, it has to be healthy, has to be creative, has to be safe, those sort of things to make it work well. And through that last week, when I had a big change happen, I was able to get that processed, close that door, and move on with things. And I think when we talk about closing doors and putting things in the past, I think I had to learn how to put a lot of things in the past and work towards, making things better, going forward and, finding ways, new techniques, new skill sets. You can never stop learning, ways to help solve problems that you may never known when you were living independently. For so long of my life, I have had family to support me, and now that the support is being more untethered because of family instances, family events, those sort of things. So now we have to look, at things. How do I do things on my own? How do I make things possible? How do I make things work? Those sort of things are the questions I have to ask myself. How do I make things work? Do I slow things down? Do I take my time? And, eventually I did, and I took the time, and it hurts sometimes, but, you know, getting that progress and being ahead of the storms of that once were, is much better, than where I have been. And, that's the thing, there's nothing wrong with being different or having challenges. And I feel that like in my journey, in my life as an autistic person, even though if you read the blog every day, and I do encourage you to do so, I think you see my challenges, but you also and the way they are well written, but there's so much more beneath the surface that you don't see, and how that is, while I can articulate in many ways, there's still some deficits that I have, and we shouldn't call them deficits, but we're all think different. When we're a neurodiverse thinker, we all think different. It's all a different mindset in a different way. And in a world where we talk about being anything and doing anything and the sky is the limit, that should be welcoming and accepted. And I feel grateful for the opportunities that I have had in my life. Those things are, a part of that. And, we're all human. We all make mistakes, but I think it's how we react to them and how well mannered we are when things happen, and how we take those mistakes that we make and turn them into learning lessons and not rehashing lessons, not reiterating lessons, not things that are intrusive and repetitive in nature. It's about working towards finding a solution, taking responsibility, making things right, those sort of things. Again, I do apologize. I wanted to make sure I had the notes. And it's the having the power. I think sometimes we don't think we have the power. We want to throw a pity party for ourselves. And for so long, for most of my life, I wanted to throw a pity party. I want to say, oh, woe is me. I guess we can't do nothing to better ourselves. And well, at this moment in time, I'm not 100% where I need to be. I'm in a stable mindset and I'm living life the best that I can for the moment. And just because I can't do everything that I once did, that doesn't mean anything because when I look back at it and I think of the things that I once did, I wasn't in the right mindset. And sometimes, when we're taking care of our mental health, some things kind of bog us down and our anxiety, comes into play when I have an anxiety disorder. Yes, it takes working through those things. Yes, it takes, that extra bog down, but it's also doing what you can to get by sometimes. And sometimes if it's just a little bit, that can be your only best. And we shouldn't say, well, you only did this or you only did that. What you did and how you did it, and even if you did very little, but all you did was survive, that too is valid. And that should always be considered when you're looking into things that we think are not valid. But another thing that I have found, and I think there are many tools out there, however you as a person who is having challenges or or has things going on in their life with their mental health or being autistic, having natural supports has been a good thing for me. And I've always had them, but I'm like I was always hit and miss and never really did my check-ins and never followed day to day and not as much as I have now. But sometimes you see the value of that, especially when something that is changing in your life so much comes out in a bound and you see the value of that happening. And you see the dividends that it pays and the happiness that you feel and the joy that it brings to your life and the calm and collectiveness. I think that pays off in dividends. Having that one friend or having that a few of those friends who check in on you every so often or every day for that matter and see that it's okay. We all experience our struggles and it's okay. And there's nothing wrong with mental health. There's nothing wrong with needing to take extra care of our mind. We should take care of our mind just like we take care of our body. And I think that's, something too I had to see. I had to see, okay, well, taking medicine is just like anything else in the world. Taking medicine for a physical illness wouldn't be the same as taking medicine for anything else. And, I think when my struggle was, for the longest time, I couldn't see that it was part of my disorder, not just to squelch me down and keep me asleep. I think it was more than sleep. Maybe it was because I needed all that rest, and I had not gotten that rest properly for a very long time that I was not able to see, hey, maybe I do need to slow my speed down a little bit. And it has paid off. And if you've been following me the last year or so, you'll see that slowly with practice making perfect. I know we don't like to use the word perfect, but having that continual, slow, steady progress towards understanding the necessity of caring for my mental health and being on my tip top shape when I know I need to be and being there for those who need me too, but also being there for myself. I think that also, played a pivotal role in making sure that, my mental health is always a priority. Being your best is being your best. Sometimes anxiety as I have, and many people have co-occurring with being autistic, sometimes, anxiety holds us back from taking that initial step to do what we need to do or want to do or should do sometimes. And I think it took a big, sometimes it's once you take that step and you in the right direction and you get moving and you push through the things, it's better. And sometimes you have to work at it for yourself. You have to find the necessary coping skills and defense mechanisms that you need in your mental health treatment or your mental health recovery for that to work for you, and using those tools and applying those tools and taking care, and just sometimes it's just slowing down, or maybe a hot shower, or just getting a fresh set of clothes on. All those things work and all those things matter. Everybody has to find their own way that works for you, and that is a slow process, and it's taken me almost a year to get to that process where I say, hey, okay, I know what I need to do to get in line here for the evening, and do what I need to do to get settled in so I'm ready to go out and conquer the world the next day, because I know I have to. And, even though anxiety can sometimes play a part in that, it's working at crushing it and getting through it and doing what you need to do, even coping in those moments when you're getting ready to do what you do. And when the naysaying moments come up and they say, oh, you don't want to do that, but you do. And I know that's a common thing among autistic people. I've experienced it many times in my life. But thankfully for me, about 80% of the things that I've done in my life, they have been quite successful, and, they're quite well. And, something else, that is something it's maturing and learning that, sometimes we have to take criticism. Sometimes we have to take feedback from people and accept it and not get angry and immature too. I think that's a big step in that way too. So, and just knowing that even though I had issues in the past, and even though they are likely not to return because I'm keeping my mental health in check and I'm taking care of myself, I can't change it. It happened, and I've taken responsibility for it, and I've owned up to my mistakes. And those are all building blocks and learning lessons to get to where I want to be, in the future, where I want to understand that's why we don't do those things that we once did. And even though those were all done in my past, 6 or 7 years of independence, I know I can never do those again, because that's not how I want to be. If I could play this tape over 100 times and see it, I think that's what it would want to be. It's you have to see the benefits of what you're doing. And I think for the longest time I couldn't see those benefits. What was it? Even though initially I would feel this agony and this pain, and it'd be miserable to get that healthy balance that I need for my mental and physical health. What would, eventually having that balance makes things so much better for me. And I'm seeing that more and more as I continue to progress from where I have been even a year ago. And it's been a long road even before a year ago, and there's been many years. If you read through my vlog, you will read all the stories. But I think my blog, I mean, excuse me. But I think if you get through all that and you see that life does get better, life is better, and I'm seeing it now in an element where not only am I taking care of my mental health, but I'm free from many of the previous and prior stressors that I had in my life. And it's easy to breathe, it's easy to make sense, it's easy to get better. You know, knowing that the necessity is to care. You have to care for your mental health just like your physical health. There should be no shame of it, regardless of what gender you are, or what sexuality you are. It's all very well needed. We always have this tough man figure who thinks, it's you can't cry and you can't do this and you can't. It's a shame, and you're looked upon, you're frowned upon. There is no shame if you are a man. I'm a man, and there is no shame. And until last week, I didn't know that it was okay just to let it out. Even though before, when I would go to counseling or something like that, I would say, I wouldn't be allowed to let. I feel like it was wrong, or it was bad for me as a male, as a cisgender male, to let it out and just let my frustrations out and cry. But there's nothing wrong with that. And we need to continue to break down those barriers that men specifically are facing when it comes to taking care of their mental health, because a lot of times they suffer in pain and silence, like, I'm the man up and I'm to be tough and I'm not to get help, because that's a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. I wouldn't be where I would be if I didn't get help. And even though I had relapsed in the past 2 years, I had really seen, that people were really there for me. And it wasn't just about women or men, or it was everybody, anybody who really cared to listen and knows to check in on me and knows to be my best self. Let me see if I have any more else. But it's for my mental health. It's for, the people around me. It's for those in the public eye who would, if I wasn't taking care of my mental health, would raise concern, and would end up, the thing I think I really thought about it as, things as supports are lessening in my life. And like I said, as I'm nearing the age of 40, I think, we're seeing the level of support that I'm getting, even though I'm living independently. The trust of the support is lessening, and the availability of support is lessening and lessening and lessening. And I think the lesson that I took out of all of that is mommy can't come save you, daddy can't come save you. So you have to take care of yourself. And that includes myself. That's what I mean. I need to take care of myself so that I can navigate the world, as many problems and many challenges and many changes sometimes can throw in your life and be there for your life. You have to know how to navigate it and take it, as well as I am taking things that have happened as late as the past week. Things happen, and as autistic people such as myself, change is hard. Change is a tough thing to accept. But eventually, over time, it's getting easier and easier and easier, maybe because I'm so accustomed to things just happening on a whim, and that's how they are, and that's how they're going to be. And I think just being able to bounce back from those moments when it's the roughest and the most challenging times, being the best that I can be, because I know there's other people who are looking up to me, and I know there's people who have my back when I need it. I think it's all of those things, all of those people being there, all of those people who read every day, all those people who watch the videos. It's everybody. It's okay to be me. And I think for the longest time, I had a hard time accepting that. It's okay to be autistic. It's okay to think differently. It's okay to be different. And I think for so long in my life, I've hidden the fact of that. And now I'm seeing that it's perfectly normal. And what I'm experiencing in life is perfectly normal. And if I have challenges and needs and accommodations, that's okay too. It's just who I am, and I shouldn't try to mask and pretend who I'm not, because I fear what's going to happen. And or I fear asking for help or accommodations, or just need support and feeling bad about. I need to stop feeling, and I think I am starting to not feel bad about it. So as time goes on, things do get better. It's taking that first step, getting your mental health treatment, your mental health help. And like I said earlier, for men, it should never be a shame you can never be ashamed to get help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's okay to ask for help. People will help you in many cases, regardless of your gender, regardless of your sexuality in many cases. It's just it's we are all human. We all experience feelings, emotions, actions, problems, life's events, life's challenges. We all experience something in our life. Our brain, I know for me, it's about balancing the brain so that I can live as have the best quality of life possible. And I can't thank enough people, and we'll talk about that in the 350th special, which is next week. It's been a long journey. We've been doing this vlog for 5 years, and I think almost 5 years, and we've been talking so much about so many topics and so many things. But I think one of the biggest things is, it's okay to ask for help. If you don't know something, it's okay to ask. It's taking those big steps and doing what you need to do. So it is, those things, and it's never, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to ask for help. It's better to get help, and you will see a better life ahead of you. So, with that being said, before I close the vlog today, I know some people sometimes reach out to me and ask, could we collab? Could we do things? And my personal opinion is that I feel that it is best that I have a hard time keeping focus, and I have a hard time keeping a program rolling, and I like the tape to do it by myself. So I do appreciate all some of the invites that I get, but unfortunately, I'm not comfortable doing that, and I'm not willing to do that. So just I just want to make sure that I was reaching out to that population and letting them know that when they send me messages and emails and things. It's been a long journey and we're not completely where we were, not at that level yet, but I have 349 awesome videos, and I hope that everybody finds something enjoyable out of any of them. I take a few minutes out of my week, and they keep me busy on the weekends, and life is just good right now. And I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have. So if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to this video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Pinterest. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. I'm on the web. That address is www.dustinsdynastyusa.com. And lastly, I have a link tree with all my podcasting platforms and all my other relative links. That handle under Linktree is Dustin's Dynasty. Again, I want to thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. We'll talk at you soon, and have a good week and a good close to Mental Health Month. We'll talk again later. Bye bye.